My son said frankly, I'm ashamed to be his son, mocking our last name during his wedding speech. I just smiled and left. Days later, his lawyer called. The $42 million estate can't transfer without that name. They're begging you to talk. I'm 64. My son David is 30. At his wedding last month, he stood at the microphone during his speech and said, honestly, I'm embarrassed to carry the Harrison name. It bought me everything, but it never meant anything to me. The 200 guests laughed. His new wife giggled behind her hand. I sat there in my rented tux at a table I'd paid for beneath chandeliers I'd funded and didn't say a word. I just sat down my fork, stood up, gave him one nod and walked out before dessert was served. Here's what David didn't know. My grandfather built our fortune from nothing. My father expanded it. I tripled it. The Harrison name isn't just a name. It's 3 generations of 80-hour work weeks, missed birthdays and calculated risks. And more importantly, it's legally protected. Back in 2003, after my cousin tried to sell off family assets to fund his gambling habit, I worked with our lawyers to add an ironclad clause to the estate charter. It's simple. Only direct descendants who legally carry the surname Harrison can inherit from the family trust. No exceptions. You change your name, you lose access to everything. I drove straight to my office that night and sent one email to our attorney. Subject line, activate clause 9. Within hours, the gears started turning. See, David had been posting on social media for weeks about how he was finally becoming his own person by taking his wife's last name, Martinez. He thought it was progressive, romantic, a fresh start. He even filed the legal paperwork 2 days after the wedding. What he didn't realize was that my estate isn't just some bank account. It's a web of trusts, properties, stock portfolios, and business holdings worth $42 million. Every single asset is tied to that clause. The first thing that happened was his credit card declined at a restaurant 3 days later. Then his Tesla payment bounced. Then the mortgage pre-approval for the $4 million house he and his wife were buying in Austin fell through. The bank sent him a letter. Your cosigner has been flagged as non-compliant with estate verification protocols. He called me 6 times. I didn't answer. His wife started commenting on his posts asking what was happening. Their dream house purchase collapsed. The startup company he was launching, which depended on a trust-backed loan guarantee, lost its funding overnight. 2 weeks after the wedding, his lawyer called mine. That's when I got the message. They want to talk. David says he'll change his name back. They're begging. I called him back myself. He was crying. Told me it was just a joke at the wedding. That he didn't mean it. That his wife was pregnant and they needed the money. I said, you stood in front of 200 people and said you were embarrassed by the name that built everything you've ever had. I'm not punishing you. I'm just honoring your wishes. You wanted to be David Martinez. Congratulations. His lawyer tried to negotiate, asked if there was a way to reverse the clause. I reminded them that David had publicly renounced the Harrison name, mocked it on video with hundreds of witnesses, then legally filed to change it. The clause was automatic, no takebacks. Last week, I heard his wife left him. The startup is dead. He's working at a tech company in San Diego, making $90,000 a year, which is good money for most people, but not when you're used to unlimited trust fund access. The $42 million stays exactly where it is, protected by a name David thought was just words. Turns out some words have a price tag, and he couldn't afford what his cost.